Geopolitics with Shukuru were the future.
Hello everybody, this is Geopolitics. Today we have something very deep to watch, to analyze and to understand. I have a video about this the cartels, but also about Trump's administration and why they are much focused on this issue. First of all, the drugs are killing so many Americans. That is true. I have a big video to show you how this video was taken in the town of Philadelphia in the United States in Virginia. So I'm going to show you this video. But first, here's a report of Trump reporting to the Congress that they are in a war or in an armed conflict with the cartels now. Here's the video.
Breaking today, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, confirming another deadly strike on a narco-trafficking boat off the coast of Venezuela. One second it's there, the next second it's not. Hegseth says it was packed with substantial amounts of narcotics headed for the United States. The move comes after a White House memo sent to Congress saying America is now in a formal armed conflict with the drug cartels. Let's bring in Brett Sadler, retired Navy captain and former Pentagon official, and Derek Maltz, the former acting DEA administrator and Penlink senior vice president. So complaints from Democrats and Republicans alike prompted that letter that the White House sent to Congress in terms of the engagement with cartels. It said in part, the president determined these cartels are non-state armed groups, designated them as terrorist organizations, and determined that their actions constitute an armed attack against the United States. The president determined that the United States is in a non-international armed conflict with these designated terrorist organizations. The president directed the Department of War to conduct operations against them pursuant to the law of armed conflict. Since we're talking about military operations, Brent, let's start with you. Is the president on solid legal ground here?
He does have a legal case, and I think it can be made that he's acting effectively as a commander-in-chief against imminent danger.
The election, during my speech, I said if President Trump won, he would designate these cartels as terrorist organizations, which is the right thing to do. They've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization combined with the poison in the United States. So he's treating them as terrorists like they should be, and he's playing the away game. He's not waiting for the drugs to get here to kill hundreds of thousands of Americans through their poisoning. He's playing the away game. He's going to stop them before they get here and save American lives. He's doing exactly what he promised American people he was going to do. By taking these actions, he is saving countless lives every day in this country.
So now let's watch this video and see why Donald Trump, or why Trump administration, or why the American government wants to finish with the cartels, and why they want to end with them. So here the video. It's very hard to watch, and full of lots of people with drugs and things like that. So it's better to watch it in order to understand why Donald Trump wants to end this conflict with the cartels and why he wants to deal with them. Hear the video.
Government buildings, right in the land of the American.
Watch your foot. Watch your foot.
This is a typical day in Kensington, a neighborhood in Philadelphia.
This is the effect of the drug, known as Tran, often referred to as the zombie drug. It makes people appear disconnected from life, like they're not really there.
After people come down here, they turn into zombies.
This is happening in the Kensington neighborhood, where it feels like you've stepped into a scene from a post-apocalyptic show. Bent bodies, incoherent voices, and arms covered in scars.
Eats at the skin.
No one is helping them. No one intervenes. This is the world's largest open-air drug market, right here in Philadelphia, USA. But what you're seeing isn't just addiction. It's a systemic collapse, the result of decades of failed policies and institutional greed.
dangerous street drug component is officially called Xylazine, nicknamed Trank, as in tranquilizer.
In this open market, drugs are bought and used openly on the streets, with no attempt to hide it. Extreme poverty, widespread homelessness, addiction, and mental health issues. Just minutes away from some of America's most iconic government buildings, right in the land of the American dream.
In this northern suburb of one of America's great cities.
We are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just 2 hours from Washington, D.C. and 2 hours from New York City, one of the world's most famous cities, known for its universities and stories. Take this historic building, for example. But behind these streets are heartbreaking stories. This city holds the biggest and most notorious open-air drug market in America, maybe even the world. We're gonna take a closer look at their stories now. From opium to trank. The story begins thousands of years ago when opium was used in traditional medicine. In the 19th century, the British used it as a colonial tool, flooding China with drugs, leading to the Opium Wars. These wars ended in forced treaties, with China giving up Hong Kong to Britain. Then came the 20th century, when drugs shifted from medicine
and I'll take the drug now
to destruction.
America's public enemy number one is drug abuse.
Heroin, cocaine, and addiction spreading across all continents.
Don't do drugs. Stop it. Get some help.
It's called Xylazine, or Trank, an animal tranquilizer cupped with America's street drug of the moment, fentanyl.
But the 21st century brought something worse. Fentanyl, 50 times stronger than heroin.
Look at my leg. That's all from that.
So those are scars from shooting?
Yeah, what was it?
They started eating at your skin?
And then, once you get it in there, you just get to work, baby.
Made from chemical compounds in China, and Mexican cartels turn it into a deadly drug and trafficked into the US. It's cheap, fast-acting, and deadly.
So this is where it all started at, so you're going to see the volume increase drastically, right?
And in recent years, a new mixture called Trank has emerged.
The Trank is mixed between two drugs, or?
Trank is what makes them do that, you see?
Yeah, this is the result of
a fentanyl and Trank.
What drug is he on right now, fentanyl or Trank?
Both. He's on both? Okay. What did you say, sweetie? She said she liked the Trank more.
Trank is stronger?
Yeah, because the Trank keep them high longer.
Trank is a combination of fentanyl and xylazine, a veterinary tranquilizer used on animals, like horses, absolutely not meant for humans. The results are catastrophic.
So here we are with the organization.
Penn Rock Primary Care.
If someone want to stop the drugs, you guys help?
Yeah.
How you guys help? You give them house or home?
We can help. We can help them get into a housing program or get into a shelter. The first thing we want to do is get them off the drugs. So ideally, we want them to go inpatient. The dope's not what it once was. So people go into detoxes or they go into rehabs and they're still sick from the Trank because the hospitals and the rehabs they don't know how to treat it. So a lot of people are hesitant to go into rehab these days. So
for the people who doesn't know what is Trank and fentanyl, what is the difference between these?
So fentanyl is an opiate, strong. It's like heroin, but a lot stronger
and cheaper.
And it's much cheaper.
It's much cheaper because it's man-made.
Exactly.
It's meant to do this.
Exactly.
Look, you see right here? It's meant to do that.
So this is the effect of which drug?
Well, it's definitely the effect of the Trank.
Trank is mixed?
It's mixed in with the fentanyl, yeah. People come down here from all over to get the dope. They charge people more. Once they're addicted, they're like, well, I might as well come down to Kensington and get it for the, cheaper price. But then they get stuck down here. They end up being down here for God knows how long.
So Dirt is battling with drug addiction. What's your drug of choice?
Dope, fentanyl.
Dope and fentanyl?
So why people using it if they know that they might kill them?
In my personal opinion, I believe it's due to depression, people wanting to escape their realities of the traumas that they deal with here in America. America has a psychological problem that we don't deal with. It doesn't get treated. Maybe they were raped or hurt when they were children. Mom was on drugs, dad didn't take care of them, so they started using drugs. Would you take a gun and put it to your head and shoot it?
You got my money, nigga!
In 2023, Philadelphia recorded 1,400 drug-related deaths, as if a war was being waged on America. These deaths are solely due to drugs. People come from all over the place because this is an open market for everyone to buy the most powerful drugs in the world. They're lethal. This is Kensington. I don't know how they live here. I think even the shops here will shut down soon. They say homes are cheaper because no one wants to live in this area. Even though police are present, things get terrifying at night.
All right, bro, you have a good day. And this is the area where it's at the most. Yeah, the police are here 24/7. They're always here. Their job is to just monitor their neighborhood and to reduce the violence. Yes.
But still, there is a violence.
Yes, there's violence because it's oversaturated. There are too many people. I would say for every cop, there's about 30 people under the, like, you're gonna see a lot of people on drugs. This is where people come to buy their drugs the most.
So they come from different areas?
Right. And they come from all over. They come from everywhere.
There are huge numbers of people under the influence of the most powerful drug out there. This is it. This is the zombie land. Why do they call it that? Because constant drug use has broken them down, making them walk hunched over. Just imagine how powerful these drugs are and how deeply they've devastated this entire community.
What's happened to her?
You okay, sweetie? Yo, you okay? You need help? You good? Yeah, she okay.
Him too, bro. Individual. What I do out here, bro?
This isn't a normal place to casually walk through, not in a neighborhood of the richest country in the world.
So as we have watched the video, as we have seen yourself how the drugs have, how they have done people on the streets in the United States. You see the situation of the young people and the people on the streets, how they are dragged, and so many of them are even not, they don't have autonomy anymore. So now they live on the streets. They are unable even to work, and they can't even do anything. So now, as you have seen it, so let's see now where things stand right now. What are the politicians, but the journalists, the medias, what are the media now are saying about this issue? So I have some videos. I have videos from Europe, but also America, the American medias and European medias to show you, which explain better what is happening.
President Trump has assembled a pretty big naval task force off the coast of Venezuela.
And we've recently begun using the supreme power of the United States military to destroy Venezuelan terrorists and trafficking networks led by Nicolas Maduro.
Ostensibly, it's for counter-narcotics operations, but it looks to most of us like a force that is more intended to intervene or even invade Venezuela. What might be behind that? President Trump has made great play of his counter-narcotics policies in Central and Latin America.
Opened up prisons, drug dealers, drug lords, everything coming out of Venezuela. they said, and we said, we're not going to put up with it anymore.
And governments in Colombia and Ecuador are trying to be helpful. Stuart Ramsey for Sky News was in Ecuador recently reporting on the counter-narcotics operations there.
The United States are giving us money and guns, technology. We are so happy about that.
Most interestingly, though, the United States has attacked 3 boats that were traveling apparently from Venezuela towards the American coast. They didn't try to arrest them or surround them. They just blew them out of the water from the air. That is indicative of the new Trump policy, and a very big task force has been assembled off Venezuela, apparently for counter-narcotics purposes. Now, this task force is pretty big. It consists of an assault ship, a littoral combat ship, a cruiser, 3 destroyers, a submarine, and 2 troop carriers carrying the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, who are 2,000 Marines ready to go on land in some operation. And in addition, the United States has deployed many aircraft to Puerto Rico. They're very bombed up and ready for some sort of intervention. Could this be for the purpose of intervening against drug barons, drug lords, cartels? Well, that's possible. President Trump has said to Congress that from now on, drug cartels will be regarded as a threat to American national security. And he's saying that drug runners are now unlawful combatants, is identifying the drug problem, the narcotics problem coming from Central and Latin America as a fundamental threat to American security akin to a foreign power. That probably means that this intervention force, is what it looks like, might well start to operate against drug cartels inside Venezuela. It's possible, indeed likely, that strikes might be launched quite soon against certain targets in Venezuela. The Venezuelans, of course, the Venezuelan government will say that this is a foreign intervention, even an invasion, which it might turn out to be. But if the Maduro government in Venezuela falls because of it, if the opposition comes out onto the streets, buoyed up by the idea that the Americans are somehow intervening, then Washington won't care about that at all. It would welcome the fall of Maduro. So this military buildup off the coast of Venezuela looks as if it's got 2 or 3 possible purposes, but counter-narcotics is probably
in Venezuela, there have been some stories about this, are wondering if this is sort of like a predicate for regime change. And I don't know what it is, but I'm wondering, are you satisfied with this kind of explanation for the strikes, for this kind of offensive action in this region?
Freaking right I am. The cartel's been at war with us for years. 187,000 people died in the last 2 years from drug overdoses brought in by the cartels. I think it's time to put a Tomahawk cruise missile into a drug lab in Colombia. I'm fine with that. The reality is there are 55 times more people that died in the last 2 years on drug overdoses brought in by the narco traffickers who are less than a non-state actor like Al-Qaeda. And they are literally killing our people 55 times greater than what we saw on 9/11.
But don't you think the president should go to Congress and ask for a declaration of war against the cartels instead of doing it this way? I don't,
because he already has it. The War Powers Act gives him the authority.
What the cartels are?
Well, you can do that in your declaration of war. Declaring war is not limited to declaring war against a nation state. There's nothing in the Constitution
I get that, but I mean, don't you have to actually really know who you're targeting?
There is nothing.
Well, I think the president does, but it would be better to have a declaration of war. There is nothing against the president taking action against non-state actors who are already doing harm to the United States.
So listen, I agree with you. The drugs are a huge problem. Here's what the Times says, though, about Venezuela specifically. Venezuela is not a major producer of cocaine, but it serves as a transit hub for it. Venezuela plays virtually no role in the fentanyl trade. Fentanyl is almost entirely produced in Mexico. It's chemicals imported from China. That's according to the federal government. And Mexico is close to the U.S. market. So Mexican cartels already control many fentanyl smuggling routes, and there's no proof that it is manufacturing or trafficked from Venezuela or anywhere in South America. So the thing that is killing Americans, that's driving that epidemic that you're talking about, Venezuela's got a lot of problems, but that's not at the top of the list in terms of where the drugs are coming from.
No, but it's just a lot.
That complicates the argument.
The parallels are so, I don't know if we're going to see regime change or not. I don't think we are. Trump has said he doesn't want regime change, but the parallels to what we saw in the Panama invasion in, 1989, are so similar. You had a dictator who was also the facilitator of a drug trafficking operation, who was using the power of his own government to then harm the United States citizens. And Noriega and I'll be honest with you, Maduro look a lot alike. But the truth is, the cartels were at war with us long before we finally struck back at them. And it's long overdue.
If we keep defining war down, I'm with Betsy. Declare it. Define it, declare it, identify it, do it the constitutional way.
That's right.
If you can get a lawyer to tell you that the sky is green and the grass is blue, okay? A lawyer can tell you that what's happening there is war under the non-international armed conflict laws, which were developed to handle Al-Qaeda, which originally were developed to handle civil wars, non-international. So they just keep defining this thing down, and you're empowering people you won't want to empower.
Yes, because what if the Russians decide to drop something over Jeff Bezos' yacht or Mark Zuckerberg's? They've got some pretty big vessels, right, in the Mediterranean.
Well, look, I mean, I can't speak to that, but listen.
I was also wondering what role Maduro and his administration plays in this drug trafficking. Maduro, the president of Venezuela. So here is the video which explains from DW, which explains well his role and everything. So there you go.
President Nicolas Maduro, can you tell us what role do they play in international drug trafficking?
They're large international drug traffickers as a country. They're not producers. They're not producers at all of fentanyl. Fentanyl, when it crosses the border in the U.S., comes from Mexico, oftentimes from Chinese precursors. Materials. But in the case of Venezuela, what they are is they are a transshipment point for cocaine that's leaving Colombia. But they really only, the cocaine that leaves Venezuela, most of it's actually bound for Europe. Only about 5% of the cocaine consumed in the United States comes across Venezuelan airspace or maritime space. Most of the cocaine that enters the United States comes from the Pacific or up through the Isthmus of Central America and through Mexico. So this is really an attempt to try to engage in another agenda that the Trump administration has, which is to try to engage in regime change, to take out the Nicolas Maduro government. They've named Nicolas Maduro and a number of his associates in the government as being members of the Cartels de los Soles, which is, they're claiming is a narco-terrorist organization. And they're claiming that gives them the license to effectively take them out. By the same token, they've also doubled the bounty on Nicolas Maduro's head to $50 million. So if you happen to have any information to be able to turn him over to U.S. authorities, you can make yourself a quick $50 million. That, by the way, is more than the U.S. placed on the head of Osama bin Laden. And it demonstrates just a general trend across this entire rhetoric and policy, which is hyperbolic. It's unclear really whether Cartel de los Soles actually exists as a hierarchical organized cartel as it's being described by the Trump administration. It's unclear to what extent Nicolas Maduro, he probably is very well aware of narcotics trafficking flying over Venezuelan airspace and leaving Venezuelan shores, but it's unclear whether this is truly an organized operational cartel with him sitting at the head. But that's very much what the Trump administration wants to portray. But again, UNODC, UN Office of Drugs and Crime, as well as independent investigators have really questioned the logic and evidence that the Trump administration is putting forward to make these claims.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Geopolitics. Thank you. I'm Shukuru. As I told you, this is a new channel and we want to grow it to a big channel. We'll be talking about different matters, but this channel is going to be based on the audience. It means what my audience wants, and that's what I'll be focusing on. The political content that they want to hear or they want to hear about. If you want something, you can write in the comments, and then we can do the research on that thing and we can talk about it. So that is, we want to base our intentions and our news on what people want to hear and what people want to know about. So this is a channel for the youth, but also for the future. Everyone who wants the future, who wants a better future, this is for you guys. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful time.